DFW rapper and his 5-year-old daughter had their lives taken away much too soon. Want to play a clip for you from Fox 4 DFW, and then I want to talk about the rapper himself afterwards. Let's check it out.
A 30-year-old man and his 5-year-old daughter were murdered at a car wash in the Fort Worth suburb of Forest Hill.
At this point, it appears to be a targeted shooting, and police are looking for 2 gunmen. Dozens of evidence markers show where the gunfire erupted today at the car wash on I-20 at Forest Hill Drive. A 30-year-old rapper and his young daughter were both killed. Fox 4's Peyton Yeager is in Forest Hill with the update from police on their investigation. Peyton.
Steve and Heather, that first 911 call came in just before 11 a.m. this morning, and we did not receive an update from Forest Hill Police until just about an hour ago at 8 p.m. They now tell us police have identified at least one of the suspects and have issued a capital murder warrant. However, police are not releasing any of the names of the suspects. We know that 2 men, police say, opened fire on the victims. A witness who lives across the street from the car wash tells me she heard multiple rounds of gunfire taking place in.
6 the first time, and then it was like a half a second to a second. I heard 6 more, and then a half a second or a second later, I heard 3 more.
Becky Johnson startled by what she says sounded like back-to-back gunfire. A deadly shooting in broad daylight at a car wash off Forest Hill Drive and Interstate 20.
I could see people filling for their cars.
Johnson watching customers take cover behind their own vehicles. Forest Hill police say 2 men got out of a Kia, approached the victim's car, and opened fire. Sky 4 video shows dozens of evidence markers around a maroon Challenger, also a vacuum still laying in the front seat. Forest Hill police confirm 2 were killed in the Monday shooting.
And a baby, a baby.
Family members tell Fox 4 the victims are 30-year-old Chucky Smith, known as North Texas rapper G Money Lil Ronnie, and his 5-year-old daughter. The little girl just had a birthday yesterday.
Cleaning the car out, and somebody came through shooting and killed him and the baby.
Fort Worth and Mansfield police were on scene to help with crowd control. Raw emotions as loved ones rushed to the car wash.
Yeah, that's a tragic situation. So I didn't know who he was, so I did some research on him and I watched some interviews with him, and he was a rapper, entrepreneur. He had a thing. He was a big gambler, a dice player. He loved playing dice, and that's where he made a bulk of his money. He actually did dice tours, collaborations, and things like that. And so he would go all over the state, and he would go to different states as well, and to play dice or have dice tournaments. And he wasn't as consistent with rapping, but he had, I think, 41,000 monthly listeners. So I like seeing guys like this. I like seeing people have entrepreneurial spirit. And he clearly had an entrepreneurial spirit, but I think based on what I've seen, I think one issue was he was stunning a lot. Doing a lot of stunning, showing a lot of cash, a lot of jewelry, and that could be a problem because people get jealous. People want what you have. So I don't know what exactly caused this senseless act of killing, act of violence, but I know that, like I said, people want what you have. If you're flashing a lot of money, a lot of jewelry, stacks of $100 bills in your hand, people see that. People pay attention to you all over social media. And it doesn't justify anything at all. There's no reason for that. It's a lot of haters out there. So he had a merch line as well called Literally Clothing. Is that he kind of coined that term, literally, like bling bling with cash money, certain terms. So literally was his coined term that he actually made a merch line out of it. He's being put in certain stores, and he was actually doing very well for himself. And based off of what I saw, besides all the, the stuff you see with the flashing the money and things like that, seemed like a very humble guy, just based off the interview. And he was very focused on what he was doing. All of his promotions, all of his, he had no manager. He had no manager. Wasn't signed to anybody. So everything he was doing was on his own as far as promotion, all of his shows. He was actually on tour with Soulja Boy. If anybody remembers him, I think this guy had a lot of potential based on what I saw with the music. He had his hands in a lot of different things, and he lived a rough life. His mom passed away this past January. She was in the streets quite a bit. His brother's incarcerated. So he didn't really have that family unit growing up, and he lived with people that were close to him, like friends and people that took him under their wing. And he had a 5-year-old daughter. So it's sad because I like when I see me as a black man. Some people may call me, you're not real black because you only half black, whatever. But me as a black man, I love seeing black entrepreneurs. I love seeing that. Like Lil Flip, one of my favorite rappers down in Houston, Lil Flip, he has his hands on all sorts of things, merchandise, music, record labels, and even has a drink company, soda company, liquor company. So I love seeing when guys who live a street life, but then they turn into something more positive. And it breaks my heart because the 5-year-old girl didn't deserve that. So he didn't deserve that as well. Nobody deserves to have their lives taken away from them like that. It looked like it was clearly a targeted attack. And Forest Hill, I know where this is. I haven't been there in years. I did have a friend who lived in that area, and I don't know what it looks like now, but I know they had 0 murders back in 2024, and this year they're up to about 5. So something's clearly changed. I hope to get that cleaned up. Look, I've never been a fan of Forest Hill. To me, this was back in the day when I used to go out there. I thought it was a little run down, but it looks like it's changed if they had 0 murders in 2024. And excuse my voice, been feeling under the weather, so hopefully this doesn't deter you from listening. But in closing statements, it's sad when you see somebody who's an independent artist doing his own thing, entrepreneur, taking care of his kid. Look, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what caused this to happen. I know he was in the dice game. And by the way, he said that he would make up to $15,000 to $20,000 in a single game. Sometimes he walk home with $5,000 or $6,000. So he called himself the best gambler in Texas, and I don't know if that's self-proclaimed or if there's actually. He said there's some studies on that, and the data shows that he is the best. He was the best gambler in Texas, so he mastered his craft and made a living off of it. So I remember back in high school and people playing dice, and it was a big thing. I never got involved with it, but there were people that were really good at it. And this was his craft right here. So I don't know if this had, like, because he was so good, maybe it caused some kind of jealousy, some envy against him. And like I said, people want what you have. They see you succeed and they don't like it. Do you remember Nipsey? That's kind of what happened with Nipsey Hussle. That is what happened with Nipsey Hussle when he was killed tragically in his hood on Crenshaw. He opened up a store down there with his merchandise, and he was bringing life to the community. And sadly, his life was taken away for it because of haters. And this is one reason why rappers and people from the hood, they move away and they get away from that. But Nipsey Hussle wanted to bring life to his community, and there's nothing wrong with that. He's doing a great thing, creating jobs, pumping money into the community. He turned his life around as well. And at only 33 years old, his life was taken away from him. And his trajectory was insane. I actually saw Nipsey Hussle in the concert. He opened up for The Game back in 2009, and he was fantastic. I was impressed. I was like, who is this guy? And then he started making it big years later. And again, life was taken away from us much too soon before we saw his full potential. And it's sad to see what happened here. But I want to leave it right there. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Take care.